The multiverse rift opened, bringing Mysterio back to life. Fueled by vengeance, he quickly realized that this rift connected him to other dimensions, where Spider-Man and their foes existed in different forms. Seeing an opportunity, Mysterio decided to reshape the multiverse to his own liking and eliminate every Spider-Man who stood in his way. Determined to build an army, he reached out to powerful villains from across dimensions. First, he recruited Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus from Tobey Maguire's universe, offering them a second chance to defeat Spider-Man. Though wary of Mysterio, both villains agreed, intrigued by the idea of a new alliance. Mysterio then recruited Electro and Lizard from Andrew Garfield's universe, each drawn by the chance to rewrite their pasts. From Tom Holland's universe, he gathered Vulture, Shocker, and Scorpion, who all eagerly signed on, motivated by their thirst for revenge and power. Mysterio dubbed this coalition the Sinister Syndicate. Meanwhile, Tobey's Venom had also crossed into the new dimension, roaming the unfamiliar streets. He soon encountered Sony's Venom, Eddie Brock, and the two clashed in a brutal showdown of symbiotes, each determined to assert dominance. Ultimately, Eddie emerged victorious, proving his control and strength. Defeated, Tobey's Venom retreated, seething with anger. And Mysterio quickly seized the opportunity to recruit him, promising revenge against Spider-Man. Just as the Sinister Syndicate began to take shape, another powerful figure, Morbius, found himself transported into the multiverse chaos. Struggling with his bloodlust, Morbius encountered the three Spider-Men, Tobey, Andrew, and Tom, who recognized him as a potential threat. In his confused and frenzied state, Morbius attacked them, forcing a fierce battle. The three Spider-Men fought to restrain him, and after a hard-won victory, Morbius fled to regain his senses. While Morbius tried to stabilize himself, Mysterio reached across dimensions to recruit villains from the animated Spider-Verse. He brought in Kingpin, who saw the multiverse as a way to find his family, along with Prowler, who was torn between loyalty to Kingpin and his nephew, Miles Morales. Olivia Octavius, Doc Ock, from this universe also joined, drawn to the scientific possibilities of the multiverse. As Mysterio built his army, the three Spider-Men grew aware of the threat. Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen soon crossed over, bringing them news of Mysterio's plan. They warned the Spider-Men that Mysterio's meddling could collapse the multiverse, destroying countless lives. Knowing they couldn't face this alone, the Spider-Men agreed to work together, gathering allies and preparing for the impending battle. After his victory over Tobey's Venom, Sony's Venom, Eddie Brock, crossed paths with Tom's Spider-Man. Initially they clashed, with Eddie still distrustful of Spider-Man. But as he learned more about Mysterio's plans, Venom realized he shared a common enemy and reluctantly joined the alliance. Sandman, confused and lost, was also transported into this chaotic new world. He wanted only to return to his daughter, but Mysterio convinced him that defeating Spider-Man was his only way back home. Torn between his family and his conscience, Sandman reluctantly joined the Sinister Syndicate, unsure of his place in the conflict. With both sides gathering their forces, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, sensed the brewing conflict and sought out Tom's Peter Parker, offering his skills and heightened senses as support. Knowing Daredevil's abilities could counter Mysterio's illusions, Tom's Peter welcomed him as a valuable ally. As the stage was set for a multiverse-spanning war, Morbius found himself grappling with his place in this battle. Still haunted by his bloodlust, he remained in the shadows, struggling to decide whether to ally with the Spider-Men or give in to his darker urges. The battle for reality was about to begin, with each side prepared to risk everything. The Spider-Men Tobey, Andrew, and Tom are now fully aware of the multiverse threat, thanks to the warnings from Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. With Mysterio's sinister syndicate assembling an army, the Spider-Men begin to prepare for a battle unlike any they've faced before. As they strategize, Sony's Venom, Eddie Brock, reluctantly joins them. His initial clashes with both Tom's Spider-Man and Tobey's Venom had left him skeptical of working with any version of Spider-Man. But seeing the bigger threat, Eddie agrees to ally with the heroes, though his relationship with them is tense and uneasy. Meanwhile, Morbius continues to lurk in the shadows, struggling with his bloodlust. After his initial confrontation with the Spider-Men, he has retreated, unsure of his role in the impending battle. The more he learns of Mysterio's plans, the more torn he feels, knowing that this alliance of villains threatens everyone, including innocents. He watches from afar, uncertain, but slowly warming to the idea of helping the heroes. Daredevil, Matt Murdock, joins the Spider-Men as well, his heightened senses making him a critical ally against Mysterio's illusions. He brings a grounded and tactical perspective, encouraging the team to trust their instincts and focus on their strengths rather than relying on what they see. His insights add an invaluable edge to the Spider-Man's strategy. With their team growing stronger, the Spider-Men set up defenses across New York, bracing for an attack. The tension is thick as each hero prepares to face foes from their past and new ones from across dimensions. Suddenly, the Sinister Syndicate strikes. Mysterio's carefully orchestrated assault begins, and New York erupts in chaos as the villains target key areas of the city. The Syndicate divides and conquers, with each villain having specific objectives to keep the heroes spread thin and overwhelmed. Tobey's Peter Parker faces the twisted familiarity of both the Green Goblin and his old symbiote enemy. This confrontation is deeply personal, as Goblin taunts him with memories of his past, and Venom reignites their bitter rivalry. Tobey struggles to keep up with the combined assault, but finds an unexpected ally in Sandman, who, though technically part of the Syndicate, hesitates to go all out. His conflicted nature creates moments where he assists Tobey in small, indirect ways. Andrew's Peter is forced to confront two of his most tragic villains, bringing back memories of battles that changed him forever. Fighting alongside Gwen, Andrew's Peter finds the strength to face these foes, while Gwen's agility and creativity add unexpected tactics. Together they manage to keep Electro and Lizard at bay, though the villains are relentless, driven by the chance to fix their own histories. Tom's Peter faces the fury of three villains from his own world. Vulture's aerial attacks combined with Shocker's powerful gauntlets and Scorpion's relentless strikes make this an intense and chaotic battle. Daredevil steps in, helping Tom's Spider-Man stay focused, guiding him through Mysterio's illusions. Daredevil's experience and instincts allow him to counter Shocker and Scorpion, buying Tom the time he needs to face Vulture directly. Miles and Gwen confront Kingpin, who seeks to tear through this universe to find his family, no matter the cost. But the true emotional challenge comes when Miles is forced to face Prowler, his Uncle Aaron. Torn between loyalty to Kingpin and his love for Miles, Prowler struggles in the heat of battle. Miles tries to appeal to his uncle's humanity, hoping to reach him and break Kingpin's control. Their confrontation is heart-wrenching, with Prowler hesitating as he begins to see himself through Miles' eyes. The two Doc Ocks, Olivia Octavius from the animated Spider-Verse and Otto Octavius from Tobey's world, clash in a battle of intellect and power. Each believes they are the superior scientist, and their rivalry fuels a fierce and competitive fight. Olivia's unconventional tactics challenge Otto's more methodical approach, and they each push each other to their limits, fighting to prove their superiority. Throughout the battle, Mysterio himself remains in the background, orchestrating events through illusions, drones, and misdirection. He's focused on manipulating Tom's Spider-Man in particular, reminding him of the chaos he caused in No Way Home, and preying on his guilt. Mysterio's deceptions make it hard for the heroes to stay coordinated, with Tom struggling the most as he faces visions of past mistakes. Morbius watches from the shadows, observing the devastation. The sight of innocent people caught in the crossfire triggers his conscience. He realizes that if he does nothing, his own bloodlust might make him no different from the villains tearing apart the city. Finally, he chooses to step in, turning against the Sinister Syndicate as he helps the Spider-Men contain some of the Syndicate's henchmen and protect civilians. This marks a turning point for him, and he begins to feel like a part of the team, though still struggling with his dark urges. As the heroes slowly gain the upper hand, tensions begin to rise within the Syndicate. Sandman, who has been holding back, starts openly resisting, choosing to protect civilians instead of attacking the Spider-Men. His hesitation frustrates his fellow villains, particularly Green Goblin and Tobey's Venom, who see him as a weak link. With the Syndicate's first wave failing to defeat the heroes, Mysterio pulls back, regrouping his forces. The city lies in ruin, but the heroes stand victorious, at least for now. However, they know this is only the beginning, and with Mysterio still at large, they brace for the next stage of his plan. As the Sinister Syndicate's initial attack begins to falter, Mysterio realizes he needs a game changer, someone who could bring uncontrollable destruction and throw both heroes and villains into chaos. He turns to Cletus Cassidy, a dangerous sociopath bonded with the Carnage symbiote, whom Mysterio has deliberately brought into this dimension for just such a purpose. When Carnage first arrives, he's disoriented, confused by the sudden shift into an unfamiliar world. Cassidy, already volatile and unpredictable, feels completely out of place. His instincts lean toward violence, yet for a moment he's thrown off by his surroundings. Mysterio seizes the opportunity, approaching Carnage under the guise of an ally and planting twisted ideas in his mind to deepen his anger and sense of alienation. Knowing Cassidy's fractured psyche, Mysterio begins to manipulate him. He paints the Spider-Men and other heroes as a collective threat, telling Carnage that they're out to destroy him, that they've hunted down others like him across dimensions, and that he's the last of his kind. As Mysterio spins his lies, he goes further, fueling Carnage's rage by suggesting that the heroes see him as a freak and have plans to lock him away forever, denying him his freedom to unleash chaos. To isolate him further, Mysterio hints that even the other villains have allied with the Spider-Men, conspiring against him to capture and contain his power. Each twisted word sinks deeper into Cassidy's mind, stoking his paranoia and resentment. Convinced by Mysterio's lies, Carnage begins to see everyone around him, heroes, villains, anyone in his path, as enemies who want to destroy him. His disorientation quickly morphs into an all-consuming rage, making him more dangerous than ever. Fueled by Mysterio's manipulation, Carnage erupts into a frenzied rampage, attacking without distinction. In his eyes, every person he encounters becomes a target, part of a vast conspiracy against him. Cassidy's psychotic tendencies, combined with the Carnage symbiote's overwhelming power, transform him into a living storm of bloodlust and destruction, tearing through the city as he attacks heroes and villains alike. For Mysterio, this is the ultimate success. Watching from a hidden vantage point, he revels in the chaos Carnage creates, throwing the Spider-Man and the Syndicate into disarray and forcing them to react. The battlefield descends into utter turmoil as Mysterio, hidden behind his illusions, watches with satisfaction, seeing Carnage's violence as a tool that can help him keep everyone off balance. But it soon becomes clear that Carnage is far more dangerous than even Mysterio anticipated. The sheer intensity of his madness and destruction is impossible to control, and Mysterio begins to realize that even he may be at risk. For a moment, he contemplates his own escape. Should Carnage turn on him as well? Yet by then, the damage is done. Both heroes and villains are left reeling, overwhelmed by Carnage's brutal attacks. Mysterio's manipulation has worked too well, forcing the remaining heroes and villains into an uneasy alliance as they face a threat none of them can handle alone. In this moment, Mysterio's ambitions reach a terrifying new level, as his willingness to use a sociopath like Cassidy to advance his plans reveals just how far he's willing to go. The multiverse has truly descended into chaos. After the brutal battle with Carnage, the battlefield is a wreck, and heroes and villains alike are left exhausted. The uneasy alliance that formed to contain Carnage has frayed, but everyone realizes that Mysterio remains the ultimate threat. As the heroes and villains catch their breath, Mysterio reappears, his mocking voice echoing over the ruins of the battlefield. He taunts them, revealing that everything up to this point, Carnage's arrival, the multiverse chaos, even the formation of the Sinister Syndicate, was all part of his grand plan. He manipulated the Syndicate and used them as pawns to exhaust both the heroes and villains alike, never intending to let them share in any victory. Now, with everyone weakened, he unveils his ultimate goal: to destabilize the multiverse and reshape it in his own image, erasing every Spider-Man and establishing himself as the ultimate power across dimensions. The full extent of Mysterio's ambition shocks everyone, even the Syndicate members, who believed they were in control of their destinies, now see that they were merely Mysterio's tools. Betrayed, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Kingpin turn against him. Sandman, realizing he was manipulated from the start, sides with the Spider-Man to take Mysterio down. Olivia Octavius and other Syndicate members, furious at being used, also shift their allegiance to stop Mysterio's scheme. Before anyone can reach him, Mysterio activates his final trap, deploying an army of drones programmed with reality-distorting technology. The battlefield warps into a surreal nightmare, where illusions blur the line between friend and foe. Mysterio twists reality itself, turning allies into apparent enemies, and spreading disorientation across the battlefield. Heroes and villains struggle to see through the illusions, as Mysterio begins to tear at the very fabric of the multiverse. Sony's Venom, Eddie Brock, steps up to face the chaos head-on. While he and Tom's Spider-Man have maintained a tense alliance, Eddie realizes that his raw symbiote strength might be the key to breaking through Mysterio's distortions. He barrels into the heart of the battlefield, using his symbiote to shield the others from Mysterio's reality-warping projections, tearing through drones and equipment with brute force. Eddie's Venom fights in tandem with Tom's Spider-Man, their reluctant partnership finally showing signs of trust and understanding. At the same time, Tobey's Venom, still simmering with resentment after his defeat by Sony's Venom in the previous acts, is also on the battlefield. Though he initially hesitates to fully commit to the fight, seeing himself as an outsider among both the Syndicate and the heroes, he is soon forced to choose a side. Watching Mysterio's illusions spiral out of control, Tobey's Venom decides that his thirst for revenge on Spider-Man is less important than stopping Mysterio's chaos from destroying everything. Driven by this reluctant realization, he joins the battle against Mysterio's drones and illusions, working alongside Sony's Venom, if begrudgingly. Meanwhile, Daredevil, using his heightened senses, begins guiding the group, helping everyone focus on what's real. With his guidance, the heroes and villains start breaking through Mysterio's illusions. Tom's Spider-Man pushes forward, determined to confront Mysterio directly, with Sony's Venom by his side, clearing a path. As the illusions weaken, the two Venoms, Sony's Eddie Brock and Tobey's Venom, fight in tandem, dismantling Mysterio's drones and tearing down his projection equipment scattered across the battlefield. Eddie uses his strength and agility to target Mysterio's core systems, while Tobey's Venom, fueled by a mixture of anger and frustration, destroys remaining illusions that have entrapped the other characters. Their combined symbiote powers prove crucial in creating openings for the other heroes to reach Mysterio. In a crucial moment, Tobey's Spider-Man confronts Mysterio alongside Daredevil and his former ally, Doc Ock, as they work to disable the last of Mysterio's defenses. Eddie's Venom, in a final act of teamwork, uses his symbiote to shield the Spider-Man from Mysterio's last-ditch attempts to control the battlefield, absorbing attacks intended for them. As Mysterio's equipment crumbles, his illusions begin to fade. Tom's Spider-Man finally reaches Mysterio, confronting him face to face. Despite Mysterio's final, desperate attempt to use Tom's worst fears against him, Tom remains grounded, strengthened by the unity he's found in his allies and the sacrifices they've made. He delivers the decisive blow, shattering Mysterio's last line of defense and ending his control over the battlefield. With Mysterio defeated, the exhausted heroes and reformed villains, including both Venoms, find themselves in an uneasy truce. The former Syndicate members, bruised and shaken, share a moment of quiet realization. Sony's Venom and Tobey's Venom, though still distrustful of one another, share a fleeting look of understanding. Both have confronted their darker sides and found something worth fighting for, beyond revenge. As the multiverse stabilizes, the heroes prepare to part ways, each changed by the alliance they formed. The Venoms, having come together to fight a common enemy, leave with a deeper respect for the Spider-Men, even if their rivalry remains unresolved. In this moment, both heroes and villains find a strange unity, having faced the reality-warping chaos and Mysterio's betrayal. With the multiverse safe once more, they prepare to return to their worlds, forever altered by the alliances, rivalries, and unlikely friendships forged on the battlefield. With Mysterio defeated, the multiverse stabilizes, and calm returns to the battlefield. The heroes and former villains, still processing the chaos of the fight, take a moment to acknowledge one another, knowing the fragile alliances they formed saved them all. Daredevil quietly approaches Tom's Spider-Man, offering words of wisdom and encouragement. He emphasizes that being a hero is about facing darkness, even when it's overwhelming. Tom's Peter thanks him, carrying Daredevil's words as a reminder of his own growth and resilience. The two Venoms, Sony's Eddie Brock and Tobey's Venom, stand apart from the group, sharing a tense but respectful acknowledgement of each other's strength. Though their rivalry is far from over, both Venoms leave with a newfound understanding and respect for their counterparts. As the dust settles, Tobey's Spider-Man reconnects briefly with Doc Ock. Otto Octavius, once a friend and mentor, expresses his regret for everything that led him down a dark path. In a quiet, emotional moment, Tobey's Peter reassures him, allowing Doc Ock to return to his world with a sense of closure and redemption. Morbius and Sandman, having been reluctant allies, also find their place in the resolution. Sandman, focused on reuniting with his daughter, prepares to leave, feeling at peace with the choice he made to fight alongside the heroes. Morbius, struggling with his inner darkness, feels a sliver of hope, having tasted what it's like to fight for something beyond survival. Finally, Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy bid heartfelt goodbyes to the Spider-Men, especially Andrew's Spider-Man. Gwen's presence brings him a sense of closure, a chance to make peace with his own loss. Miles filled with newfound confidence, thanks Tobey's Peter for his wisdom and guidance, inspired by the legacy of the Spider-Man mantle. As each character prepares to return to their respective worlds, they carry with them the experiences, alliances, and hard-won victories from this battle. The Spider-Men Tobey, Andrew, and Tom share one last moment, bonded by the strength they found in each other, and the sacrifices they made to protect the multiverse. With the multiverse stabilized and each hero forever changed, they return to their worlds with a renewed sense of purpose and unity, knowing that in every universe, the spirit of Spider-Man endures.